Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanys Coughlan from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Jurkofsky.
Who has dog hair all over. I'm like, well, that's a lot of white hair going on there.
She has 4 big white dogs, folks, so, it's allowed. So, how is everybody doing today? How are you doing?
Doing okay.
I don't even have the stuff up ready yet today.
It's been a good day. It's been a busy day, but it's been a good day.
I found I was pretty productive today overall, which was nice. Yeah.
Good.
It's always a good sign. And then what else did I do today? Well, overall, it was a productive day. That's all I need to know. I did some admin stuff that I've been wanting to get done for a while, and so that was good. That's always a good sign when I can do that.
Yeah, I had a good day with sessions and stuff, and then I was on with Gerald Tarot Stash.
Oh yes, how was that?
Our Laugh and Learn, and we started talking about the primary health system, and so that's exciting. We're going to be deep diving into that as we move forward, and
You're talking about the primary health system with human design. Mm-hmm. I just thought we should be specific because it sounds like you're going to talk about the whole healthcare system, and I'm like,
no point. Which is partly why I call it the personal health system, because it's our personal system based on our human design. Brock called it primary health system, so I try to be proper every now and then. But
oh no. Hello, Hypnocity. Welcome.
Hello. Oh, so
she
sorry.
Says she's getting a seasonal cold.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, those are no fun.
No.
Nope. So I'm just going to bring up our forecast stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have, there we are. Solar flares have been fairly, normal, I guess. Or shall we say stable, maybe is a better word. The planetary K index, again, pretty stable. However, our Schumann has been all over the place. So we've had some big stuff over the weekend, these big downloads of info coming in. And if we look down here, you'll also see it continues. Every so often we'll have these things. And then last week, of course, we had these big ones like that. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that.
A lot of energy coming through last week.
Definitely.
So. Hi.
Yes, self-care is on the menu. Very good. Very
good stuff.
What's going on in our transits? Yes, they're like whiteouts. Exactly. Sorry, Hypnocities.
Yes,
definitely like whiteouts. And we're at 56 today, which is high.
Mm-hmm.
So remembering that 7.8 hertz is baseline. So
I don't know. I mean, it is the baseline, but it hasn't been that in a very long time.
Agreed.
I think we maybe have a new baseline.
Well, I'm thinking the baseline, we've had some at about 12 on and off. To me, that sort of feels like the new 10 to 12 is kind of that new range. That seems to be where it goes the lowest right now, as opposed to 7.8. But we're up a lot, where all of that's concerned. So,
Riding those waves.
Indeed.
All right. So today we shifted our transit as well. And so we have entered into the gate 29. And it's so glary. There we go. The gate 29. This is the gate of the abysmal, but it's the gate of saying yes. So this is the energy to persevere despite the circumstances. And when we're looking at the energy here from the Gene Keys perspective, we're moving from the shadow of half-heartedness to the siddhi of devotion through the gift of commitment. So it's our ability to move from that energy. Richard talks about it like the life half lived, where there's no real joy or excitement, right? This is where we end up in that energy being the victim of our commitments or the lack thereof, right? Being able to be in that place of either being, unreliable or overcommitted to different things that take us away from being present with ourselves.
I don't know anything about that. Never.
Well, and this is something, that the world, we experience it all the time, that kind of pull on us to always be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we begin to kind of see that it doesn't matter which side we're on, the repressive or the reactive side, there is a shutdown that happens, right? Because even if we're, that unreliable piece is, but if we're in that overcommitted piece, we also don't have capacity. Mm-hmm. We're not able to still do the things, at least not to the fullest extent of what we could do them with. And so the energy here is trying to get us to be very conscientious and intentional with our experiences. Can I hold space for committing to the things I really want to do that align with my strategy and authority, that hold space for me to grow and expand? And can I allow myself to say, not going to commit to these things that don't allow that space, right?
Adjustment.
Mm-hmm. And boundaries.
It's interesting that I came on saying I had been productive. I didn't know that it was really about productivity. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this energy, it's really neat because, we talk about like the Bhakti yoga and that kind of path of devotion. And it really, that is the siddhi aspect of this, is that our love gets poured into that which we can be devoted to, right? And so in the Sufi faith, it's like back to the beloved, right? Or into the oneness, into the universal. And so we look at that and go, okay, like what is it that I really want to be devoted to? And how much of my time is spent not honoring that which I'm devoted to.
Mm-hmm.
But if our commitments come through from that devotion, we're probably going to be doing different things than we generally do with our time and energy,
I would say.
Mm-hmm. Should we say hi to a couple more people?
Yes. I wasn't sure if you were quite done, so I didn't want to.
I could keep talking about this stuff, but...
Hello, Kaylee. Welcome. Welcome. Hypnocity says there's a lot going on. I feel fall temperatures may be coming early. Yeah, it's definitely started cooling off in the evening. I was sitting out at dinner time last night and I was like chilly. I was in a short sleeve shirt and it was a bit chilly. And then we've got Sham. Hey, Sham.
Hey, Sham.
Welcome. And we have Annie. Hey, Annie. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah. So what do we want to talk about, Jen?
Well, we can talk about the energies and what that shows up as, or if there's something else coming up for you guys that you want to talk about, then we can do that too. Mm-hmm. I just need to do a big shout out to all of you really quick, though, who supported with the book, because you guys made it hit #1. You guys have done amazing in supporting it and sharing it. And I am forever grateful.
Yeah, let's see the book, because she got her copies, her hard copies, and mine's in the other room. So this one, Lyran Legacy, Scarlet Paths.
Yeah, so I know we've been talking about it on the show, and we talked about it in Galactic Gab. And so if you guys want to find out more about it, you can definitely go ahead and watch some of those shows. But I didn't want to not give that thank you, because I'm absolutely honored by the support and the feedback. So yeah, and the connections
awesome.
that have come from it too.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cool. So what do you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, we'll maybe pick a card.
Oh, we could do that too.
We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't.
Do I have some? Or do you have one that you'd like to pick?
I'm good with either way. Again, if we're, looking at the transit piece, one of the things to keep in mind as we're moving forward is just like, we talk often about our patterns, right? And noticing the patterns and how we repeat our patterns. And then what it is when we repeat those patterns, kind of the way that we end up following through or not based on those. And then how do we want to shift, right? Like we talked about actually on Galactic App with Dr. Lisa Thompson, we were talking about shifting through oh, thank you. Hypnicity says, I love your writing style. Thank you so much.
And this could be a good topic too.
Parallel lives. Yeah. Well, and this is kind of where I was going, where we were talking about how we had different timelines and different, parallel lives that could happen and all of that. And so I think that, yeah, Shem, you hit the nail right on the head in terms of where I was going with that, because we begin to recognize that, every time we make a shift in a pattern, we open to a new reality. And so this is where, with Lisa and her book, Awakening. Oh goodness, where'd my brain go? Awakening to Your Multidimensional Self.
Yes.
It just took me a moment. And she talks about how we're constantly shifting timelines. And so, and we had shared about our experiences where we actually have memories of our time together, getting to know each other when it first started, and it's different timelines for each of us. And so it's really fascinating because, as we're moving through the energy, we're also beginning to realize that we're going to have these moments where things are unique to us, and they may not actually match what people who we're close to remember or experience. And these can be things that could be divisive if we allowed them to. Right. And if we notice our patterns and stuff, we can go, oh, well, I'm maybe feeling insecure about my timeline, or I'm feeling like judgmental that yours isn't the same as mine, or I'm feeling whatever it is that comes up, versus, oh, that's neat. Cool. Okay, we have different timelines. And then that's it. Right. And allowing it to be that.
Well, I wonder how many arguments start over that.
Oh, yeah.
When it's stuff that it's not even like you have no, well, I mean, I guess we sort of have control over it, but you know what I mean? It happens like automatically. It's not something we're like, I'm specifically going to change timelines now. So, I mean, you could, I suppose, technically, because, energy goes where thoughts go, but it's something that happens, and it can happen without us realizing it. And so, and yet people will be they'll stand on that rock going, nope, that's not what happened. But, it's really because people don't understand that that's what happens with the timelines, that we switch, like you turn right instead of left, and all of a sudden you're in a different timeline. Yeah. And it's okay. And I've heard of people that have actually changed timelines, and, we've all done it where we think we've put our keys here and then we find them over there and we're like, I've actually heard of people who have switched timelines, and they go outside in the morning and they're like, whose car is that? Because it's a totally different car in the laneway than what they remember. That's a big one. But I have heard of that happening, that they literally different timeline, or different car, different, things like that.
Well, and I wonder too, if that isn't also part of that parallel life.
Yeah.
Right? And that can go in parallel lives in terms of just like this. And then, as in the book, parallel lives in the sense that we've had, we talk about past life regressions, and we talk about, doing QHHT sessions where we go through and explore past life, and things like that. But if time isn't truly linear, then these things are not actually past. They're parallel.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you and I must be functioning on a whole bunch of levels all at the same time, because we got a lot of parallel lives.
I think that's the beauty, though, of not having conscious memory of all of them. All the time.
Can you imagine trying to keep track of all that? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. But because there's so many different timelines, there's also this is something that we kind of touched on in the Galactic Gab, is that we may have very different memories of the same past parallel lives as somebody else, because they may have lived it on a completely different timeline than we did.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? And so
everything else might be the same, but their experience of it can be different on a different timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we just want to hold space again for that piece of, and I know I say this so often, but the not knowing and being okay with the not knowing.
That is a tough one. Mm-hmm. I think there are a lot of people that are not okay with not knowing. Yes. And he says menopause is definitely a change in a parallel life. Wake up, look in the mirror and say, man, who are you? She's kidding, of course. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It definitely changes things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think for me, the coolest thing was was doing that time when we went into the meetings and they were asking me questions like I was in the other timeline, but I had brought my human brain. That was really, I'm sure that was to really show me the depth of that parallel life thing, or parallel timelines, because that was, it was very interesting. It was this. Yeah, mind blowing.
Well, and to realize that sometimes we have access and sometimes we don't have access.
Yeah.
Right. And we can go, I mean, I know a lot of people who go their whole lives and they don't access it at all. This is just the life and that's it. And that's what they're experiencing this time around. And that's fine. And then there's, people who go through and go, holy crap, there's a lot of lives in there. I don't want to know all of that. Yeah. Right. And so, and then everything in between. And so if something is coming up for you, if a particular parallel life is becoming more prominent for you, it might be worth exploring so that you can kind of go, okay, what is it about this particular life or energy that I'm meant to embrace, explore, bring forward, whatever it is. But just allowing yourself to kind of open to that and meditate a little bit on it so that you can see, like, is there something I'm meant to do with this information?
Mm-hmm. Well, like we've talked about that around the one that you wrote the book about, that there's aspects that we need to bring forward into this time, that we're in that time. Are in that time. I'm still trying to transition to not past lives, but concurrent. But yes.
Yeah, our brains we are programmed from the moment we come into this world to think linear.
Yep.
Right? We have birthdays. That's the day we're born. And then life happens from there on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We're like, no.
Right?
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of transition in the way that we think about things that has to happen if we really want to explore the idea of parallel lifetimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's a really powerful tool though, too, because, how often do we struggle with something and not really understand why, and go like, okay, sometimes we have, obviously we have our own traumas and experiences and things that happen in this lifetime. But then there's other times where we're like, I don't know why this is impacting me so much. I don't know why I'm feeling so strongly about this. Like, I really don't see that connection. And if we, kind of sit with it for a little bit or meditate on it, sometimes what comes forward is, oh, this is actually something that's happening somewhere else. And I need to process that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where we do that sort of other life healing stuff.
Yeah.
That work. And he says, I find myself stopping at times and no, I was thinking about a whole different thing. But at the moment, I cannot remember. And no, not memory decline. And she's a nurse. She would know. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of that happening right now. Like there's a lot of this kind of shifting between. It feels more like fluid between the different timelines and stuff than it's ever been before. So I think people are having that kind. They're having to like adjust on the go kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is the quantum jumping, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, we've got all of these different things going on. And so the concept of quantum jumping or quantum leaping, I mean, you remember the show. Maybe. I remember the show. But the concept is taking like quantum physics and exploring it through the lens of like our personal development and allowing us to kind of jump between different versions of ourselves in these parallel realities. And so, if, I mean, we can geek out on the science behind it.
Go right ahead. The science is your thing.
Well, and here's the thing, right? So we have all these particles and we know that we're not this like solid form that we think we are. And so these particles are always moving and they're always in transition, and they're in transition not just here, but multidimensionally. And so we have the ability to be here and then to be somewhere else in space-time because of the fact that we're not actually this solid thing that we think we are. And so by shifting our mindset, and again, this is some of the stuff that Dr. Lisa Thompson gets into in her book. She talks about how we can just shift our mindset, and that aligns us with a different, how you guys talk about frequencies, like a different frequency of our reality. And it allows us to kind of just jump into that experience or reality. And so that's kind of the concept there and where that comes from.
Very cool.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
And we do it. We do it all the time without realizing it. Like, I know I've said this before, and it's in my chart too with human design. But it's really fascinating. Is like I've said this so often. I feel like I have had multiple past lives in this lifetime because I'm such a different person now than I was. 5 years ago, than I was 10 years ago, than I was, and yet, like I look at. My brain is in human design a little bit because of our talk with Gerald earlier today. And so I'm in that wavelength, but I can look at my design and see myself in it in all of my different experiences. So who I am living as in this lifetime has been there through all of that. But the way that I operate within that has shifted so drastically that some of these previous versions of myself seem foreign to me.
Yeah, I have that experience as well. So for me, once, I think probably around the time that I started my businesses, that changed for me in a big way. Like I had never thought about starting a business, and here I am 10 years later. And I'm very different than I was as an employee, so it's almost like, when you switch hats or you switch what you're doing, it opens the door for these big personal changes to come in. And it's not just what you're doing with your life. It's like, it feels like deep internal changes at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know, for me, some of the most difficult experiences that I had to go to were like that quantum leaping experience, because in order to be able to navigate it and to come through it, I had to make some significant inner choices, right? Going in and going, okay, what do I really want here? And what do I want my life to look like moving forward?
Yeah, exactly. And that is a timeline change when you make those kinds of choices, right?
Absolutely.
So do you guys have any times like that where you feel like all of a sudden you changed who you are? I mean, maybe not all of a sudden, but like we're talking within like a short amount of time, like within a year or two. You're a very different person. I know for me, I was very anxious. I was very like A-type personality, super detail oriented, like afraid to make mistakes and all of that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I call myself a recovering perfectionist because of that. So, because I think that, we still have aspects of that. But when we work at trying to go with the flow, that's the opposite of that sort of perfectionist has to be a certain way, very stuck thinking. So it's, for me, that was a huge shift moving out of that experience. Boy, I like myself a whole lot better now.
Right. Well, and noticing how much of those kinds of experiences don't come from who we are. They come from the conditioning of the experiences that we had. Right? I have to show up this way in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, in order to be wanted, in order to have value, in order to whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are the stories that play from the programming.
Yeah.
And programming from the experiences.
Back to our patterns.
Back to patterns. There we go. You guys thought it was timelines? It's all about patterns. Who knew?
Well, it's so Shem's talking about like this quantum jumping, and Richard Rudd in the Gene Keys for the 29th Gene Key, which we're talking about, he talks about making quantum leaps, right? In terms of our ability to succeed in order to have fulfillment and all of that. It's, he gets into how we have to sometimes make those quantum leaps in order to get out of the same old loops. Right, that we experience. And so, you guys can't make this stuff up, and you guys are just so super intuitive, right? To bring things forward, because they are all aligned and they connect.
Definitely. So Kaylee says she looks at photos of herself back in 2011 and she doesn't even see that person as herself anymore. They're a stranger. I have to say that's probably the case for me as well. I mean, part of it is that I had short hair at one point. But when we go through big energetic changes too. So when we start, like Kaylee's gone on a healer path, and that was the same for me. When I started stepping into doing the healing modalities and stepping into, getting attunements and changing how I view the world by what I'm doing in it, your energy shifts, and we actually don't realize how much we read each other's energy. I remember that came out for me during COVID, because I didn't realize how much I did a whole bunch of networking when I started my businesses. And so I would meet people and all of that, and I'd have no problem kind of remembering people and that sort of thing. It was all in person. We got to COVID, and I would have these, like coffees online. I could not remember who people were. I'd be like, oh, have we had a coffee? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And I realized it was because that I was not in their energy when I was meeting them. And I realized how much I do that without even realizing it. I just read people's energy, or I identify them with the energy they have. And so I think for what Kaylee was talking about, I think that energetically, when we change completely, because we're consciously making changes to both, to our physical system and our energy system, or whatever the case may be, when we make those changes, people recognize you differently. They see you as a different, I was going to say entity, but you know what I mean? Like it changes who you are energetically, and that's how people recognize you.
Yeah. Well, and
does that make sense?
We shift so much on a regular basis because we are always changing. And I know we've talked about that before, how we're always changing. And that's on every level, right? We've got all the bodies.
Yep.
And so
all the energetic bodies.
They're all always changing, and different points in time, we have different parts of us that are more present than others. And I remember Reagan at one point was like, Mom, is that like, what did you do to that picture? I'm like, that's me. This is me. And eventually I went through and I'm like, I'm going to pull you up pictures of me. And they are so different. Yeah. Everything down to my facial structure, my expression, like, and they're not like far apart in time either. It's very much like, this is the energy that's presenting in this moment, and it actually looks different on me than this energy when it presents, and then this energy, right? And so, I mean, even going back through the Twillow talks, I'm sure you guys can see certain days, that would just look different than other days. And like the basic form is there. I'm not saying that, but there is a shift that happens depending on where we're at and what energy we're feeling at any given moment.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Hey, Bodhi.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming. Love you
too.
Yes, I think a lot of people did, right? It shifted the energy on, and we have to talk about the earth energy shifting at the same time, right? So
Shem's not just about COVID, not just how we've shifted after COVID. So,
well, I think because there's a component of the collective shifting with COVID, and so we get shifted a certain way because of collective, and then we have our own shifts as well, and it's it's a combination of both things when we're doing that kind of shifting. Ooh, I just got goosebumps. Apparently, that is correct.
Well, and COVID was a planetary shift. And I think that, as much as there's different sides and everything else that have come out from that for various reasons, there is a component of how each of us handled it in our own unique way. And some people really liked being able to be quiet and in their own space and all of that. And some people really did not. And it wasn't comfortable for them at all. And then everything in between. And I think when we have those kinds of issues that arise when we get into these crises, it really does show us different aspects of ourselves. And then we get to decide what we want to do with that.
Yeah. I'm just looking back to see if we can get a picture that would be an example
of.
Oh, I'm just looking at my Facebook photos as we're talking, because I want to see how different it really looks, and then I'll show a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's on my Facebook. It's fine. Everybody's has access to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here. That's a good example. So this is. Yeah, so this is 11 years ago.
On the screen, if you're.
I'm going to do that now. This is 11 years ago. So. That's 11 years ago. So that's pretty different.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the energy piece. I mean, my hair is a little different too, but I think it's interesting to do that. When I looked at that, I thought, oh, all righty.
Yeah. But there's definitely, I mean, the different energies, and it's so, we talk about, I think for a lot of us, because we've done so much in virtual now, we've gotten to a point now where we can look at a picture and feel the energy, right? We can, in this case, like even with you guys, I don't get to see you all as we're chatting, but we can feel that energy, right? We feel the energy of the people in the chat and all of that. And so there is a component of now being able to do that more readily in that virtual way. But how we perceive even our own picture, like you're looking at these pictures of you and they're totally different.
Yeah.
And yet I would think that maybe even how you see them, because I know this happens for me, how I perceive a past picture of myself is very different at different times than others.
Yeah.
Right? There are times where I've looked at a picture of myself and been like, whew. And then there's other times where I look at a picture of myself at the same picture and go, oh, I like that picture.
Yep. So it depends on where you're at too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know those pictures, like the last one I showed you with the straight hair, that was right after going to the stylist, of course, because curlies. Who can do that every day? But anyway, well, it's true. It's a lot of work to straighten your hair. So, but that one, I looked at it then and thought, oh, that's a great picture. And I look at it now and I see, like what Kaylee said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time I thought, oh, great picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we have to be open and curious to whatever is possible.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't know that those kinds of changes can happen within us and with those around us. Right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And we are always shifting. And because the energy is also always shifting, we're showing up as different people and we're feeling the energy differently moment by moment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
11 years ago. She does say, though, she was lucky. They caught it early. So that's
well, I mean,
good.
you're dealing with like health issues and things like that. We do want to be mindful of the fact that is going to significantly change us.
Yeah.
Because our energy and everything is going to shift when we're really unwell, especially if we're dealing with like a type of cancer. Yeah. We know that there is a different energy signature that comes with that. And as you work through that and heal it, it shifts again. And so I imagine, that time period would have been very different in your energy and then you are now.
Yeah.
Right. It's fascinating the way that it shifts.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah. And I like what Annie said. It's up a bit because we were kind of talking about some other things.
COVID?
Yeah, that COVID for sure made us see that connections are needed in energy field connections at the least. And it's true. And I think that's part of, what we were just saying around how we've learned to tap into the energy of each other, even if we're over great distances. Now, this isn't something that we could always do this. But I think that it's something that we've learned to do more. And COVID is a catalyst for opening us to that, so that we now can sit in a room like this virtually, but all of us together in our own places, and we can feel that collected energy of community and connection.
Yeah, really, it forced us to turn on that skill or light up that skill for ourselves to be able to do it. And then we started doing it automatically again, because I know I'm better now than I was at the beginning of COVID in terms of recognizing people's energies. But that example that I was giving about how I didn't remember meeting with these people because I didn't feel their energy. I seem to do it more at an unconscious level, subconscious level now. And I think that's because COVID, forced us to jump out of our box into these new things. So,
or put us in our very box.
Put us in this box. Because really, if we hadn't had COVID, you and I might not be doing this.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was what put us on here. We started doing more online, and we're like, okay, this is a learning curve. Let's try this. I had started doing it with another group, and sort of got my ears wet there, and then kind of dipped our toe into doing it ourselves and stuff, and did it with somebody else. And so it was like a gradual learning curve, which was great. But we may not, we might not have been doing it this way. Yeah. I know for me, one of the biggest things for me was I didn't know that I could do house clearings if I wasn't there in person. For some reason, I had never even thought about the idea. And then all of a sudden, I had a client who had moved to BC, and she texted me. She's like, I'm having a problem here, and I'm just wondering if you can check in. And I'm like, okay, well, I've never tried it, so let's try it. And she was very intuitive. And so it was a great person to do it with, of course, because Spirit made it happen. But she was able to tell me, oh, yes, I can feel you here. And oh, yes, I see the change, and I'm feeling this happening, or I'm feeling that happening. And so I realized that this was a capacity that we have. And you notice I said we have. Yes. This is not like just me. Like, this is like a human capacity that we can step into if we choose. So that for me was life altering, because I all of a sudden was like, I knew I could do distance Reiki, but I all of a sudden started doing things more via astral travel, right? Like going, okay, I'm going to come and touch you on the shoulder, and just envisioning myself doing it. And I was there. And now it just happens so easily when I intend it. And it's just a skill that you practice. And I think that's one thing that COVID really helped us hone as a skill. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. We get so bogged down with limitation.
Yeah.
But this, like, what we think we are is so minuscule compared to all that we are.
Yeah.
And our capacity is the same. What do they say? We use what? Some small percentage.
20% or something, right?
Right. What we have capacity for is so much more than what we believe we have capacity for.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, thanks, Shem.
Oh, thank you, Shem.
That's awesome. The whole episode has made us look at things differently.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? We're constantly growing and changing and evolving. And so every time we get a new kind of thing to think about, we can go, interesting. What can I open to now?
That's why I always say, we're never the same person 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Because whatever we learned, it changes who we are. So we're always different. Yeah. So like Annie says, what is constant is change. Sometimes easy, sometimes hard, other times beautiful, other times opportunity of growth. And occasional times you want to just
go away.
Take off, eh?
Yeah. Absolutely. But what's fascinating with that, Annie, is it's all about our perception of it.
Yeah.
Right? We can have an experience and it can be cool. Okay. It is what it is. We can have the exact same experience, and depending on where we're at, we go, oh, heck no. I don't want to have this experience right now.
I'm choosing this timeline. Thanks. Not that one. No, thank you.
And everything in between.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And our experiences, like you always say, right? Our experiences, they're just experiences with the value we put on them. is what creates the possible excitement or angst or whatever it is that we associate with the experience.
Yeah. I know through this journey, one of the things that has come up for me so often is I'll have a feeling about something that happened. I know it's a trigger that came up for me or something that's going on. And my brain has started to do this thing where it actually starts to just kind of go through. You could respond like this. You could respond like that. You could respond like this. Okay, what experience do you want to have right now? Do you feel like having a fight? Do you want to just cry? Do you want to laugh about it? Like, what experience do you want right now?
Well, and isn't that ideal when we can get to that point where we don't react, we're able to respond. Mm-hmm. And that's the response stage, right? Where you can choose how you're going to respond.
Yeah, now don't, this is not an all the time thing.
No. We're going to do it automatically a lot, but
the more that we hold space again for what's possible, the more opportunity we have to catch it, right? The more that we get into that observer place, the more we can go, oh, I see what you're doing, brain. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. We're not buying into that story today. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've been discussing, the story is really part of how we're changing timelines. So
yeah,
I'm not choosing that timeline today. I'm going to choose this one.
Yeah. And I know like we've had that even in experiences where one of us will say or do something and the other kind of goes, where'd that come from? Right. And it's like, oh, did something just happen, or did that trigger something in me, or was there something going on with, can we just explore this a little bit? And then inevitably it's like, oh, okay, we're fine.
Yeah.
But if we were to jump in on that moment, we'd have a very different experience.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. And that's where the communication piece comes, right? And feeling that the safety to bring things up with other people. And I know not everybody has that in relationships that they're in, or you might have some relationships you are, some you're not. That's normal. That's like human. But I guess the more we can step into it as much ourselves, the more we can feel a bit more like, okay, I'm speaking my truth. I'm putting my boundaries. I'm doing whatever that is that I need to do for my own journey, right?
Yeah. And, it's fascinating tying it into this 29th gate that we're in, because, as I said, it's one of the names for it is the abysmal, right? The deep within the deep. And Richard Rudd, when he talks about that, he talks about how it's this kind of part of us that predicts all of the dangers in life. And so once we kind of set out on a journey, we get into this place that even if we think we know, we don't really know. And so all of these challenges and situations that come in that are going to kind of test our resolve or test our commitment, right? Because this is a lot to do with that commitment piece. We recognize that it's not anything other than whether or not we want to be committed to something that's going to really carry us through that abyss. And so if we get into, because anything that we do, there's that potential for challenge in our experience, right? And so we look at that and go, okay, I can do this thing and I can do it half-heartedly. I can do it and not be fully committed to it. I can just kind of like fly by the seat of my pants, whatever, and get through it. Or I can actually be like, no, you know what? Like I want to hone in on this and I want to focus on it and I want to put my attention to it. So let's do this, right? And then fear comes in or other things come up and they try to undermine that commitment that we have. And it's really at that point where we have to go, like, is this a commitment that I really want to put my energy to?
Right.
And if it is, then we keep going. And if it isn't, then we have to look at that and kind of go, okay, what is it that made me do this in the first place?
Well, and I think, even as business owners, we do that, right? you review your business plan and you're like, okay, so I had this as my priority. Okay, this is not really a priority anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why was I doing that? Why is this a big thing? Why did I commit to that? And then you sort of reshift your plan going forward for the next year, right? In your business plan. So it's similar to that. We do it a little less formally. Usually that's on paper or whatever, but we do it a little less formally, I think, sort of on a regular basis with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're always doing that, whether we're formal about it or not. Right? Yeah. Somebody invites you to go out to dinner. We're assessing it. Do I want to go do this thing? Do I not want to go do this thing?
Do I still like them?
Maybe that's the question that we're asking. That has happened. But it could also just be like, do I have the energy for this?
Yeah.
Or do I not? Do I, maybe I have the energy, but I actually want to put it towards this other thing. And it's got nothing to do with, I don't want to see them. It's just that I have this amount of energy and this is what I want to put it towards.
Yeah. That's more often the case.
Don't get me wrong. Like there are times where we have to reassess connection too and kind of go like, is this connection still good for me? Right. Yeah. Again, we're talking about loops and patterns and getting stuck in patterns. And you were earlier talking about like this recovering people pleaser perfectionist thing.
Yeah.
Right. And how many times do we do stuff just because the mind has told us this is what we have to do to have connection, or this is what we have to do to be valued, or whatever it is. And we look at that and go, okay, like maybe I don't want to continue this pattern anymore.
Yeah. The other thing that comes to mind with all of that is people will say, I don't like who I am when I'm with them. Some of my clients have said this, right? I don't like who I am when I'm with them. And that's really about that. So you're seeing patterns in yourself that you don't like, that come out when you're in interaction with that person. So that's just an interesting key phrase that people sometimes will say if that's what they're going through.
Yeah. And from a human design perspective, we look at that and go, that's a signpost right there.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at that. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if you don't like who you're becoming, one, there's a shadow there that you need to work on.
Yeah.
Or two, they're not the right people for you.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's nothing wrong with that because we change the way we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody changes, right? Just because you're not compatible with somebody, or, I jokingly said, I don't like them anymore. Well, it might just be that you're not as compatible because you've both had these shifts, right? It doesn't mean either of you are good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
You're just different.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, it's all okay.
Again, I quote Shakespeare all the time. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It's just experience.
Yeah.
Right? And people talk about like really, really difficult, horrific experiences. And there can be some pretty horrible things that we go through. Yeah. But we get to decide how we are going to be when we come out the other side of that.
Yeah, that doesn't minimize like horrific trauma stuff. This is, it's just how we're going to deal with the trauma is more the aspect that we have some control over.
Yeah. Right? I mean, like, obviously, like if you're in an abusive situation, you need to deal with that, right? If you're in a situation where you're being, hurt or taken advantage of, you're going to want to look at that. I'm not negating any of that. And trust me, I've been through my own horror stories to know that we can, like, I don't say that flippantly, like, oh, I've had this like perfect life where nothing has ever happened. And I'm just saying, get over it. It's just an experience. That's not what's happening.
That is not the case with Jen, you guys. Okay. I can vouch for that.
Right. Yeah. And so, we go through these things And we have to decide, and this is why, you know, things like narrative therapy and stuff, like we look at, like, how am I telling my story? Because how I tell my story determines whether or not I am empowering or disempowering myself on a regular basis.
Yeah. And so many of us disempower ourselves and don't even realize that we're doing it because it's a story in our head.
Yeah.
And I think we all do. You know?
Yeah.
It's a human condition thing.
Absolutely. And this is why journaling, talking, sharing with people that we care about is such a valuable tool, because it takes it from here where it all makes perfect sense, and it brings it out to where we have to go, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That, let me rethink that. Let me rephrase that. Let me play with that a little bit, because that did not come out the way I meant it to.
Yeah. And you know, how often do we talk something out with a friend and we go, oh, huh, yeah, that sounded better in my head. That might be something worth changing, you know, in our experience. So,
yeah.
Can you believe, like, it's like 4 minutes now?
I don't
know where the time went.
Let's grab our cards.
Mm-hmm.
Sacred Feminine. Let's see what our home play is.
Home play. We do this every week. We pick a home play.
Lie on the ground.
Ooh, grounding.
That is so important.
Yep, very nice.
And it's such a beautiful time to do this.
It is.
Okay. When is the last time you felt a connection to the natural world? It is time to spend some time in the realm of the sacred feminine. Sprawl out on the grass or the snow and let your back connect to Mother Earth. Feel her healing energy pass through your spine and transmute all the exhaustion and pain you have been carrying. Still your mind and send out a prayer of thanks as this healing takes place. Living in houses and working in buildings away from the sunlight and natural elements can disconnect you from your sense of peace. Lie on the ground, enjoy, and be refueled. Can you feel the power and rhythm of the earth? Mother Earth and her helpers want to serve by cleansing and grounding you. Accept this great healing by spending time on the ground. Lie on your back and look up at the sky. A few moments will change your whole day.
So you can actually change your timeline. Go lie on the ground. You'll change your timeline. We change our perspective when we see it from a different perspective. Yeah. So very cool. What have you got going on this week?
What do I have going on this week? You and I are going to be doing live card readings.
We are, yes. That's a stage whisper for those of you.
I don't know why I'm whispering. But yeah, we're going to be doing live card readings on Saturday.
7:30. Yep.
Yeah, 7:30 Eastern. So come with your questions, and we will share a time of reading with you, and that'll be exciting.
Fun.
How about you?
Yeah, pretty much that. I got clients all week, and I'm doing some stuff. I got teaching. So yeah, that's the online thing. Yeah. That's what we have. And then next week, you'll find us back here again.
Absolutely. And if you missed it earlier, just as a note, I was on with Gerald at 2:00 today. So if you want to dive into the primary health system with human design, you can find that on either of our playlists, so Tarot Stash or on my stuff. So there is that as well. And yeah, there's some other things coming up next week, but we'll talk about those next week. And
So thank you all for joining us, as always, and sharing your energy and your enthusiasm and all of that love. And we send it all back to you with tons of love and light. Have an awesome week, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.